So this is the conversation about men we're not having by the Unfiltered Hash podcast. I'm a young man, so let's see what does he have to say about this.
For all the men out there that's watching, this episode is specifically made for you. What if I told you there's an epidemic that impacts nearly half the male population that no one talks about? One so ingrained, so rampant in our society that we don't even recognize it when we experience it, and we don't even know how to deal with it. It's often hidden in plain sight in the form of memes, jokes, cultural expectations.
Well, we men make jokes all the time, but some cross the line that shouldn't be crossed in the first place. And those jokes just become actions, and that's when it becomes dangerous. Hence, that's why comedy is, in my opinion, the ugly side of free speech. Sometimes you don't know whether is he saying it because he's just calling out stuff that he's observing, or whether is he saying it because he actually believes it. So we actually don't know where do we draw the line here. So let's continue on.
The epidemic I'm talking about is misandry.
Misandry, the product of an extremely stupid society. One that makes Donald Trump look like a scholar. I don't know how he managed to do it. I mean, misandry, misogyny, they are just a product of an extremely stupid society in the first place. So I guess you can't fix stupid.
And it's shaping our culture more than you realize. If you're a man and you're watching this, chances are you or somebody that you know has already experienced misandry firsthand.
Yes, and it's the only form of acceptable discrimination. Okay? Just goes to show how stupid our society have become. Imagine you treat one group of people like they are dangerous because of the actions of a tiny minority. And by their own admissions, a racist, a misogynist, a sexist, or whatever label you want to use, they would say, yeah, those people are pretty stupid by their own admission. And now they are doing it to like a group of guys. Now it's acceptable, so it really goes to show like people don't think too much about this, right?
Whether it's in the form of a throwaway comment such as, men are trash, all men are the same, men only have egos, or something more brazen as, I hate men.
That's why, ladies, men no longer see relationships as something we should strive for. Why would I pay to feel worse? Right? That sounds like setting money on fire for no reason. Why would I take someone on a date and then the opinions of other people, i.e., other women, matter more than my own? There's simply no point anymore. Why set money on fire? I'll keep that money to myself. Maybe buy some add-ons for my, flight simulator or whatever truck simulator. And it can carry me way further than a date would ever. So, why spend that money to feel worse? That's the question that I'm posing to the ladies. Why would you spend money to feel worse at the end of the day? Or would you prefer to just keep that money to yourself and spend it somewhere else where you go further?
Whatever comment you experience, this all falls under the category of misandry. And it has real life consequences, and the data actually supports this. For example, there's been surveys done in the US. Half of men say that they've experienced comments such as, men are trash, or
That's why, gentlemen, in 2025, December onwards, we have to stop protecting this stupid society. Right? We just have to stop protecting stupid people in general. If they insist on poking the bear, let them. Don't save them. Right? If you try to save them, they'll bite your head off. If you try. Right? Trust me. So, every man out there should be extremely conservative on who they protect or who they let die. Why? Will those people who demand your protection give you the same grace if you say, I'm red pilled, I watch Fashion Fit, I follow Andrew Tate, will they give you the same grace? Probably not. So why should we leave our friends behind to save those kinds of people? Since they won't give us the same grace if we make a giant mistake. Now they're making a huge mistake. Why should we save them? Why should we give them the same grace? They know what they're doing. So if they want to do something stupid, let them do something stupid and we'll just avoid them.
All men are the same. In Canada, over 60% of men report that they've been stereotyped and been characterized and portrayed as being useless or emotionally unavailable.
Just walk away. Don't give them another minute of your time. Your life is already short enough. Come on. Why would you give them another minute? You'll feel worse after hanging out with these knuckleheads. So I'm like, so apart from the fact that you're wasting your money, you're also wasting your time, which you can never get back. Money will come back eventually. But your time, I'm sorry. I mean, if you die early, that's it, man. And is that how you want to live your life? Just live miserably? I don't know.
And so when we look at even the UK, 80% of men have been told to man up.
Yeah, I hope it's man up and walk away. Man up and be prepared to sacrifice stupid people in your life. Okay? Just don't save them anymore. Don't let them live. I mean, I covered that in the previous video. I mean, they won't have your back when shit hits the fan. They don't even want you to complain about anything they do. So, I'm here like, okay, why do you want to keep them around to endanger your life? And they're not bringing anything into your life. Why? Why keep them around? Because if you keep them around, you won't be making space for people who actually appreciate you. Right?
So when we look at these data sets as a whole, it's not just a joke anymore. It's not in isolation. It's actually a cultural pattern that we can recognize. So what does this actually mean in the wider scheme of things? Well, first and foremost, we can actually have some, I wouldn't say it's a full correlation, but there is some statistics and suggestions that it impacts our mental health. So when we look at mental health as a overall product, over 75% of suicides are committed by men.
Yeah. Now they're talking about this. This really goes to show how ridiculous this society is becoming. The only reason why this society is only starting to talk about male suicide is because if men no longer want to sacrifice themselves, women will have to step up. But just like any foolish society, they wait for things to get really awfully bad before they do anything. Sadly, in my opinion, it's already too late now, right? Back then, when all these issues were just like little warning lights, they should have paid attention, right? Then I'm sure people were telling them that guys are killing themselves at a rate 3 times higher than women, but this stupid society just ignored them. Now the engine is on fire. Now they are wondering where are the firefighters. I mean, you really can't save stupid.
This is in countries such as Australia, the US, UK. So why is it that we don't talk about it enough? So when people say misandry isn't real or that it's just a joke, the data actually tells a different story, right?
Yeah, I agree that sometimes it's just a joke. But sometimes when that joke crosses a certain line, then you can say then it becomes something dangerous. Right? That's why I say jokes are like the ugly side of free speech. Right? But sadly, in this stupid society, we decide to police jokes that we make against other groups of people. Because they can say, well, it harms this other group of people. But when it comes to men, they don't want to enforce it. And now these bad consequences have fallen on them. It's like, okay, we allow this. So now what? You want to hold society accountable? I don't think we can hold society accountable. I mean, we can only avoid stupid people, just let them just die by themselves. It's like, who cares about them? right? It's not like they built anything. They seem to be just going around destroying shit. So
These aren't just stereotypes, and they have actual outcomes that impact people all over the world. So I want to sort of delve into the conversation of what causes misandry, where does it come from, and how has it become so normalized that we barely even notice it? Well, first of the reasons that I think is social media. So when you see platforms like Twitter, or now known as X, Instagram and TikTok, you will see that there are trends that are bashing and hating on men. Even if you just quickly search #men are trash, you will see countless videos that are made bashing on men.
So if anyone follows those hashtags, just avoid them like the plague. You have way better things to do with your life. Trust me, right? Even staying at home and doing nothing is better than listening to those knuckleheads.
So when you see this same message over and over again, it stops being satire. It becomes the cultural truth. Another component is online dating. On dating apps, men are judged more harshly. Studies show that men are 3 times more likely to be rejected compared to women. Factors such as height, income, job status, these become filters, so it effectively reduces men to just checkboxes.
Well, if women on those sites want to do stupid things, i.e. going all in with their fertility on that perfect man in air quotes, they really deserve everything that comes to them. Just saying. I mean, guys, just save up your money, your time and your talents and find wiser people who know that social media is just highly curated. I don't know. How did people not know that social media is just highly curated at that point? You get to decide what you upload, you get to decide what you follow. Like, come on. How are people that stupid?
And when men express frustration, it's dismissed as entitlement rather than a reflection of systematic bias. Another core component that causes misandry, in my opinion, is film and TV. Pop culture reinforces misandry. Think of it as the bumbling dad trope, the father who can't cook, can't clean, and is basically another child for the mother to manage.
Well, if you watch a movie and say, that's how I should live my life, you're officially dumber than Donald Trump. I have no words for you at that point.
Or the constant depiction of men being predators, cheaters, or clueless idiots. These aren't just jokes, these shape how societies see men. So when misandry is disguised as humor, it becomes socially acceptable. And when it's repeated in memes, dating apps, and TV shows, it becomes normalized. And once something becomes normalized, it's invisible. And that's how an epidemic hides in plain sight. So what happens if this continues? What does society look like if misandry keeps being normalized, if masculinity keeps being dismissed, if men keep being told they're disposable? You can already see there's a decline in testosterone since the 1980s. Average testosterone has been declining or dropping by 1% since the 1980s. So if you put it into some sort of context, young men today have 20 to 30% less testosterone than their fathers did at the same age.
Another huge sign of a stupid society. Look at what we allow into our food.
This affects fertility, energy, strength, and mental health. You're also seeing a collapse of dating and relationships. For example, in the US, nearly 1 in 3 men report that they have had no sexual activity in the past year, the highest level it's ever been recorded.
Honestly, why? Why date in the West? This society insists on jumping off a cliff. Give it a few more years, we'll be taken over by other societies with more quote-unquote backward views. Not only because they fuck like rabbits, but because we let them in without asking them to assimilate to our values. So, what exactly are we preserving here? So what exactly are we protecting when the other half have decided that their own freedoms are not worth protecting? I don't know.
In Japan, millions of men have already opted out from relationships entirely. So when men are told constantly they're unwanted or they're trash, men will simply disengage. And when men disengage, societies lose families, children, and stable communities. If we look at education and skills decline, across OECD countries, boys are 50% more likely than girls to fail basic literacy tests. In the US, men now make up only 40% of college students. I'm not saying that misandry is a direct correlation of these, but these certainly play a part into it.
Well, when a boy is twice as likely to get suspended on a behavior adjusted basis, that boy will grow up into a man that goes, "You want me to protect that?" He'll just go, "Yeah, maybe not." He's not gonna go, "I'm gonna protect that institution that only sees me as a meat shield." I'm just gonna go, "Alright, they can die on their own. I'm not leaving behind my friends for that." Right?
At the same time, fewer men are entering, skilled workforces, or skilled trades, I should say. Industries like construction and engineering are struggling to find any workers. If this continues, it's not just a crisis for men, it's a crisis for society's ability to function.
Well, if I'm trying to build something here, but the other side is dumb enough to try to blow it up every time, at some point I'm just gonna take my talent elsewhere. To more appreciative people. I'm not building anything for the ungrateful. I'm not giving them another thing for them to tear down with their own hands. Right? That's just a giant waste of energy at that point.
Masculinity itself is being eroded. Not the toxic caricature, but the healthy kind. The type that you want to build, to provide, to innovate, to protect. So when boys grow up hearing that being male is something to be ashamed of, they stop aspiring to be strong, capable men. And if that continues, we risk raising generations being disconnected from the very traits that built our societies in the first place.
To which I say, good job.
If misandry keeps being normalized, the cost won't just be paid by men. It will be paid by literally everyone. Declining health, collapsing families, shrinking workforces, and simply a society that has forgotten the value of being a man.
Well, will this knuckle-headed society wisen up a bit? Unlikely. Will this society collapse? Yeah. Will this problem be solved? Who knows? I'm not holding out hope at this point. Society let this problem go this far. Might be way too late at this point. Maybe when it was a tiny warning light, we could have done something about it. Now it's a full-out engine fire. All we can do is, if we still want to do something about it, is to drag out the victims on the burning wreck. Assuming the victims of the burning car wouldn't bite our hands if we try to drag them out. Right? Given that they're dumb enough to get themselves into that situation in the first place, they're probably dumb enough to bite the hand that tries to save them. So, who knows?
In my opinion, that's not progress. It's extinction. So, what should we do in this case? What should we try and do to sort of erode and fix this or correct this issue?
Well, first of all, remove the assumption that men will always protect. Right? I don't have a gun. So if you cross the street to avoid me because you think I'm dangerous, then go ahead and cross the street. If something bad happens to you on the other side of the street, I'm not playing a game of Frogger with my life. Cross the street to save your dumbass. Right? Also, by the time I get over there, you're dead. So you have ironically put yourself in a more dangerous situation because you didn't feel safe. Yeah, feelings are very inaccurate. Right? Just like how people feel less safe flying than driving. But statistically, you're more likely to die on the way to the airport than flying off the airport. Right? Maybe use that head of yours a little bit. And also, gentlemen, you are under no obligation to protect. Right? Feel free to sacrifice stupid people to the bear they have antagonized. Right? Feel free to point your gun at them and take them out. Otherwise, they'll bring that wild bear to you and expect you to do something about it. If they haven't antagonized the bear wouldn't be there in the first place. So you can just take them out first, right? They are dumb enough to go poke the bear.
Well, we need to start asking harder questions. Why is it acceptable to say men are trash, but unthinkable to say the reverse? Why do we ignore the statistics that show men are struggling? And why do we laugh at the very idea of the concept of misandry, and when its consequences are written in the data? This isn't about men versus women, I'm not saying that.
Yeah, it will be, soon enough. When boys grow up in this misandrous environment, someone worse than Andrew Tate will take his place. And then we are back to complaining about online misogyny again. So yeah, if we don't solve this issue now, next time we won't even have rights. If you think this is bad, wait for a couple of generations when this comes in. And I hope you ladies are ready, because those boys will probably grow up into men who wouldn't protect you but happily sacrifice you to the Taliban, for example. I don't know what's the Western example of the Taliban, given that you guys keep letting them in. I don't know why you guys want to do that, but yeah, let's continue on.
It's about recognizing that dismissing half the human population comes at a cost that we can't afford. Misandry is real, it's normalized, and unless we confront it, the future we're heading toward is one where masculinity doesn't exist. And that society will be weaker for it.
Yeah, history is written by the victor. Maybe in the future, history will reflect what a stupid society we are, and that any future society is wise to stamp it out as soon as they see it. Maybe they'll learn giving women rights was a mistake. Maybe they'll learn that free speech is stupid. But regardless, men are putting up their own lives on the line for this garbage, right? I personally think it's already way too late to change course now. But if you somehow have a strong fighting spirit, be my guest, try to change society. When the other side is gonna fight you tooth and nail for their dumb shit. And to any societies out there who haven't had misandry run to such an extent, be warned. We don't know when is the point of no return, right? The West is dying now. I'm not sure about the East or other countries. Hopefully you guys will avoid the trap, right? And those are my thoughts. I hope I've hit a nerve, and hopefully we can change course before that happens to us. On that effed up note, I wish you guys a better day ahead. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.